Hey, what's going on? Demo Day 2020. Here we are with the second half of our program. That was so fun. Man, I am so proud of these founders, the pitches that we just saw. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're all making your way over here. I'm going to be kind of hanging out here for a minute, just kind of talking, and I'm going to bring Randy in. Randy, what'd you think, man?
That was great, wasn't it? I'm sure everyone enjoyed it as much as we did, but boy, I thought the founders did a great job.
It was an incredible series of pitches. You did a great job preparing them, making sure that they're ready and guiding through this experience. Thank you for that. And speaking of them, let's get them on here. Let's pull these founders in. Here they come. Look at this great looking group.
Looking good.
What's going on?
Hey guys, so good to see you all. Hey, here's what I want to do. I want to go around and I want one word. I want to hear one word of just your emotions and how you're feeling after delivering that pitch right now. So we're going to go around and hear that. Again, if you're just jumping on, come on in. This is going to be fun. Participate in the comments, put questions in. You can comment, you can text those in. There's all sorts of different ways you can communicate and get questions to these founders. We're also going to introduce some panelists that are going to be with us, and they're going to kind of help guide our conversation in just a minute. I'm here with Randy Wilhelm, who's the 2020 Accelerator Managing Director and Executive in Residence. We're going to go around and get one word from every founder about how they're feeling right now. And I want to also mention before we do that, there's some faces on the screen that folks haven't seen yet. So we have Mallory Keller from Trace. And I know for Matt and Mallory, this is a big deal that we clarify. They are not husband and wife, right? Matt and Mallory are brother and sister-in-law. And then we also have Stacey Slapter from Rent, and they are husband and wife. That's also very important to them. So let's start there. Nathan and Stacey, one word. How you guys feeling?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, I love it. That's a great sentiment. Mallory and Matt.
I feel impressed. I didn't pitch, so it was fun.
You're like, this guy's pretty good. He nailed this. That's great. Marvin, what's going on, man? How are you feeling?
I'm just I'm extremely grateful. That's what it is.
I love it. It's 2 words, but we'll allow it. Jim, how about you?
No, I feel really good. It was a lot of fun.
Mike?
Blessed. I think OCEAN has been just so wonderful to all the cohorts, and we're so lucky to be a part of this wonderful organization. That was more than one word too. I know.
Great.
But blessed is a word. Blessed.
I think Randy and I echo all of those feelings. Like, man, that was awesome. We're so impressed. Like, we're grateful, and we feel blessed by this community that's gathering. We feel blessed by you guys for what you poured in. And man, I'm just I'm struck by, even right now in this weird, crazy cultural season that we're experiencing, that like we could just pause, right, for that hour and now for the next 30 minutes, and we can say there is progress happening. Like there is good stuff happening in the world, and we can point out progress and we can see growth in the midst of turmoil or pain or uncertainty. And thank you guys for persevering. We had a call this morning with pastors and mentors and chaplains who were part of our program. We had a little bit of worship. We spent an hour together just in kind of soaking in prayer and in worship. And that's kind of one of the things we talked about was the good things and the good things being born in this moment and the perseverance that you all had as founders to get it out of your head and put it onto paper. Build the business plan, apply for the accelerator, what bold steps you took, what brave actions you took to stand on that stage just now and deliver those pitches. For many of you, stepping way outside of your comfort zone to do that. And now to show up here and expose yourself to questions from panelists and people in the community. Guys, you're brave, you're bold. We love you. We're so proud of you. And this is going to be a fun time together. I'm going to say kind of goodbye to you guys right now. And I'm going to introduce our panelists and kind of get them involved in the chat. Okay. Man, so that's our founders, the 5 founding teams of OCEAN Class 6. And what we want to do now for the next little bit is introduce you to some folks that are just engaged in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I would take it a step further, the faith and entrepreneurship ecosystem, this kind of unique breed of leader throughout the world that is actively exploring this idea that God is doing new good work. And that work is happening in the marketplace, right? And we can launch and lead businesses in this fresh way, in this is and these people are just engaged in this world. And so I'm going to introduce them now. First of all, we have Aimee Minnich, and we have Amy, here, we'll go slower. Aimee Minnich is the Chief Impact Officer and General Counsel of the Impact Foundation. Amy, hello, thanks for being with us.
Hi, thanks.
And then we have Victor Gutwein. Victor is the founder and the managing partner at M25. Thanks,
Hello,
Victor.
everybody. Thanks for having me.
And then you heard us on the broadcast mention a couple of times Miami University and the partnership that they bring to OCEAN and just the leadership that they have really across the country in the university space and entrepreneurship programs. And we kind of have like the guy here, man, like the grand poobah that leads that work over there at the Harvard of the Midwest, as we call it around here, Miami University. Tim Holcomb, thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Luke.
Hey, here's what I want to do. I want people to get to know you guys briefly as we start to dive into the question. So in that same order, Amy, kick us off, just kind of where you're at right now, orient people, and then the work that you do here in the world.
Yeah, so I'm in Kansas City, which is in the middle of the country. And I am, I wear a lot of hats because Impact Foundation is just about 4 years old. And there's 7 staff members full-time. So sometimes I pick up the mail, I do the marketing, I'm the lawyer, and I am trying to get a handle on how to measure impact across our 200 portfolio companies. We've invested about $115 million in the last 4 years, and there's a lot of companies to keep track of.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so that has satisfied the okay, you know, who is Amy and why does she have authority in this conversation? Wow, $115 million, a lot of investment, a lot of work, and you pick up the mail, you take out the trash, you kind of do it all. It's amazing. Victor, how about you?
Yeah, here in Chicago, I run M25. We are an early stage VC firm that has invested in almost 100 companies in the past 5 years, all across the Midwest region. And several in Cincinnati, and including at least one past OCEAN graduate spatial. So
yeah,
really used to working with and investing in early stage, pre-seed and seed stage companies, software, e-commerce, digital marketplaces. We're pretty general with what we look at, B2B and B2C. So really excited to be a part of this and some excellent pitches. I thought the energy rivaled the in-person demo days, actually. I thought it was really great. So really incredible.
Wow, thanks for saying that. Incredible. Thank you for being with us. Tim, tell us a little bit about what you guys are up to, and then we're going to dive in with some questions and pull the founders back on the screen here.
Well, thanks, Luke. As you mentioned, I run the director of the Altman Institute for Entrepreneurship at Miami University. We have about 2,800 students annually that take at least one undergraduate course, and we're an interdisciplinary program in that we have students from every major across campus involved in our program. We do a lot of work in the experiential world, which is one of the reasons why we've connected so intentionally with OCEAN. And on the other side, I've been around with OCEAN now for 6 years, and I've been very impressed and obviously love what you guys are doing. Very impressed with today's pitches, just like Victor mentioned.
Man, thank you guys so much just for your partnership, your friendship, being here today, but really being here throughout the years that OCEAN has existed. Like you said, we're 6 years into this journey, and it's literally impossible without incredible partners across the country like you guys. So we have Amy in Kansas City, we have Victor in Chicago, we have Tim who's in Oxford, Ohio, or actually you're in Cincinnati, I think right now, Tim. And so thank you guys for being with us. I want to put it in your court right now. And I know you guys just watched these pitches just like we all did, and like everyone else is watching. We got over 100 people on right now with us watching this, and they're ready to kind of dig in and learn more about these founders. So the floor is your guys. I want to know who you want to ask kind of a follow-up question to now.
Hey, I'll get it started, if that's all right. Matt at Trace, love the idea, really do, really, in tackling food waste, which is a huge problem, not just the waste portion of it, but also the effect it has on greenhouse. I'm curious, can you say something about kind of how your view on how informed and motivated consumers might be to tackle this food waste problem and reduce, I think you referred to it as a waste footprint?
Yeah, over the last 4 years, there's been a lot of work done from the Ad Council standpoint to try to start educating the consumer. It's all part of a national 2030 goal to reduce consumer food waste in half. And so there's a lot of that's been done broadly. I think most of the education right now is starting to be focused state to state and even city to city. I get the Google updates on food waste and composting, and you can see Vermont's mandatory organic waste ban goes into effect in 2 months. And so it's just every day. So I think that we'll see a stage based on where you are and the infrastructure around you. That's on the have to side, right? The hauling side. On the green consumer side, that's a very growing segment of the population. And as people realize, the announcement last month was that now, based on new research, we believe that the number one way to stop climate change is to reduce consumer food waste. COVID kind of hijacked some of that conversation and some of that information. It'll come back around, I think, very quickly.
Matt, maybe building on that a little bit too is I kind of see this as the possibility being how recycling has become prevalent over the past couple decades, and that started off with people kind of volunteering and then moving into mandated or at least government supported. Do you see this getting distribution? Your product, your platform, getting distribution from governments themselves or relationships where they could be supplying this? And I guess, do you have any plans in place to kind of try to go after that as being a default or a good option, or even a subsidized option of some sort?
Yeah, absolutely. So interestingly enough, last week we talked to Recology and before that San Francisco Environment, who have kind of been early adopters of this. And just hearing about what their goals are and the sequence of how they're engaging consumers. It all depends on the pain I think that those haulers or those cities have as their landfill fees get more and more expensive. So New York City, San Francisco, Seattle, there's going to be a lot more interest, I think, in subsidizing, right, cost for hauling if people can divert food waste from landfills. That is part of our strategy, the public haulers and the private haulers, is to build those relationships with them to help drive some demand and lower our go-to-market.
So do you guys see yourself as a kind of a one product company, or is this the beginning of a bunch of product lines? And could restaurants ever be a potential customer?
Yeah, so we hope this is just the beginning. And in fact, there's a lot of companies that stay away from the consumer side of the equation because it's messier. There are pickup services and products that focus on restaurants because they do generate a large quantity of food waste, but by and large, every household in America produces more food waste. And so we want to stay focused on households, starting with food waste, but not necessarily staying there, but trying to make products that make living more sustainably easy, because right now it's really a market of things that cater to the eco warriors and people that really have the time and a high level of commitment to the problem. And we really want to make it easier for everyone, because we think that's where change comes, is when everyone's participating instead of just the few that are committed to zero waste.
Man, that's such a fun conversation to peer into, guys. I'm like just sitting like fly on the wall going, wow, how do these incredible leaders think about these pitches? And Matt and Mallory, to hear how thoughtful your responses are and how you're kind of dug into really the solution that you guys are architecting. I love it. Thank you for those answers. I want to get to another kind of founding team here too. If we want to come back to Matt and Mallory, we can. So if you guys were like, oh, I had a burning question, jot it down. We can jump back to them. But what else? Who else do we want to pull up here?
I was asking if we could get Mike from Equine Bits on here. First of all, that was one of the most creative uses of an animal in a pitch I've seen. So definitely some props for that, and great pun there. I guess I had on my mind, what is the primary go-to-market for distributing these to, I guess who would be the buyer, or might you be able to get these kind of at scale into horses' mouths, right? So that's kind of I don't know the industry that well, so I'm just kind of curious.
Very good question. We are going to sell directly to the horse tracks. There's 75 in the United States. It's very manageable to really market to them. And they will then remarket and resell to the trainers themselves. Also, trainers can buy directly, as well as the veterinarians, whom also can resell. And the Kentucky Derby just announced, I don't know if you heard that, they're going to race virtually. And the reason they're kind of leading the charge over baseball and other social sports is because of gambling. They can start earlier. That's how they make their money. It's not by the gate, so to speak. So when the Kentucky Derby, they're on schedule for September. So we're going to do a model and do it correctly, and just by increasing the odds with this technology. Right now, it's gut feel. We feel that winning is everything, and 95% of horses don't win. We're going to increase those odds.
I'd like to do a quick follow-up to Victor's question, Mike. I'm assuming the kind of the value proposition for the racetracks is the protect the horse, the health, and of the actual horses themselves. But I'm curious, what do you see as the benefits or the value to either the owners or the trainers or the jockeys? I assume this is capturing data about the horse itself. Is that something you see that also creates an additional value?
Oh, absolutely. In the long run, that data is going to be very, very important. You can log in and see how the horse is improving compared to other one-year-olds, for example. But also injury. The injury is in the equine sports, and there's 40 equine sports, is enormous. About 10,000 horses are euthanized or injured a year globally in equine sports. It's enormous. So let me give you a scenario. A horse is running at, and their SpO2 level is 98.9%. And now it's by gut feel. The heart rate is decent, and they have a very large spread from 35 beats per minute to about 240. And that's below, it's about 120 now, as is an example. The trainer's now in real time telling the jockey, hey, you can pick it up and that will lessen injury because there's a lot of room there. And so this monitoring is continuous, and it's in real time. And then there's an alerting process if something goes bad, if something is less than optimal. And so it's going to change, right? Instead of gut feel, it's going to go by scientific measurement for the first time.
Do you see this product moving into the more mainstream market, not just racing, but the everyday horse person?
Oh, I do. The recreational side is important. In fact, there are 9 million recreational horses and professional horses in the United States, and they certainly outnumber the professionals. We like to go to the pros just by virtue of the fact that let's get the Michael Jordans,
right?
let's get them first, and lead the way with pros and create that name brand, and then go to the recreational afterward, in which we can actually we have different tiers of product from SW1 to SW2, SW3. So as we introduce new products to pros, they're able to go to the recreational market, and we could do well with that as well.
Hey, Mike, thank you so much. This actually made me want to talk to Jim a little bit. Speaking of kind of that level of data that you can get. But thank you so much, Mike. Jim, so horses don't mind having all their data out there, or at least they haven't told us that yet. So I'm thinking like the most valuable consumers, probably your wife among them, the people that are managing, the spending of the households, they are also probably the ones that, so they're spending a lot, they're probably worth a little bit more. Those are the ones that their data is the most valuable. I also have a hunch, or I feel like there's some sentiment in the market that giving away your data, is not something that people are doing as freely or as interested in. I like that you have control here. I'm just wondering, what type of incentive does a high spender, the most valuable, spender, the most valuable for your customers, need to have in order to give that away, right? Like when they're trying to lock down their data, what type of incentives are going to really get them to give it out?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks. there's different levels of users, right? And it spans a spectrum. And what we're trying to do is say that, individuals have this asset that they've never used before or capitalized on. And first, I want to make it clear that you're not just giving away your data. What we're doing is we're running algorithms and creating value out of that. You just can't sell raw data because that's really not worth anything. You have to enrich it, you have to cleanse it, you have to normalize it. And then what we're able to do is create various products out of that information. And each set of products may have a different user or a different targeted user. So to your direct question, for let's say a high spender, somebody that may not want to give out their data, they may want to interact with the network from a community perspective. So they may want to discover something they do, because it's about not just getting value from maybe a discount or a savings or maybe a dividend, but it's about discovery. It's about finding, the coolest restaurants or what's trending or the coolest shops, or if I go on vacation, where are the locals going? So it creates a whole new environment and ecosystem around data. And I think that's where you'll see some of those folks that are more engaged in consumerism, maybe at a different level, because we all have different levels, that would really benefit from the platform. So there's more than one way to get value out of your information. It's not just by directly selling it. Did I answer your question? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that helps.
Let me follow up real quickly with poke at that a little bit on my instincts tell me there are some privacy fears among consumers. And so two-part question here. One, do you see Romina being involved in the education process, awareness building around these privacy fears? And then secondly, more generally on the kind of the big co side, I'm curious to hear how companies have responded to the notion that they can acquire this data from you. And are they looking more interested in aggregate data or individual data?
Yep, good question. So on the first, there's 2 points to that. Privacy and security are job one for us. Security is not an option. You have no choice on that. We're going to secure your data. It's going to be locked down, bank level security, encrypted, all of that. Now, privacy is a little bit different because we all have a little bit of a different definition of what privacy is. So we're going to take the highest road that we can take, which is everything needs to be consented onto the platform. We're not going to consent you to death, but we're going to allow you to have, a few levels of just general consent. My data is just my data. I get to experience, and that's it. Or I can turn the knob. I can aggregate it. I can benefit from a pool of data. That might be the next knob. And then there's going to be a hard stop of when we say, hey, you're about to share your information with another entity. And do you want to do that or not? So it's not going to be something that's buried in the T's and C's of an agreement or a use, terms and conditions of a data use agreement or some other agreements. Can be very specific, and because we want individuals and consumers to feel that they have control, and they will have control over the data. They can delete it any time. They can take it with them. They can port it. But mainly, getting back to the problem is that we need to have the opportunity to use our information, and that's what we don't have today. Others are. Now, the second question around big co's, let me answer that. I spoke with a chief marketing officer of a major airline, and his direct comment to me was, Jim, if we could get this platform going, I don't have to buy data from Epsilon anymore. And I'm like, yes, that's correct. You can connect directly with your member and personalize whatever experience you would like to personalize, as long as there's consent on both sides. So there is definitely a willingness from big co, if you will, but also a lot of benefit for small and medium-sized businesses.
Amy.
I think you're depending on me giving you my data for you to monetize so that you can sell it to big co. I'm still stuck on, why do I want to give you my data? I'm already giving it to everybody else.
Well, but you're not, you may be giving it to somebody else, but I'm not sure that you're getting the exact value that you need to, or you could be getting by doing that. And you're giving it to other people, and they're not reciprocating any value back to you. So what we're saying is that there is a set of individuals, there's a set of consumers that want to benefit from their information. And we can create a world where they can discover new things, rich insights, discover new things, save money, and make money. Not every consumer falls into that category, but there's a large percentage that do. And that's how we're going to create a business out of this. So we have to bring value to the consumer. And if we don't do that, to your point, the business model falls apart. But we've heard from consumers, we've done lots of interviews with consumers, and we've heard from them that they love, like our first product that we're introducing are a set of insights, and they love these insights applications that are predictive and have AI, and they can't wait to use them. And then the other features we'll be introducing over time. So we have direct feedback from the consumer that they love what we're building. So we're going to keep working on it.
Yeah, I've been told more than once that I'm not like most people. So
that's great,
Jim.
That
I'm not indicative.
Jim, thank you. We're glad you're building. We're glad you're continuing. Amy, take us to the next one.
Yeah, I have a question for Marvin from CareCuts. So, Marvin, you did great. I'm excited about what you're building. That's very cool. My question is about the 20% commission that you get on the. That's on top of what it costs a professional, like to rent a chair in a salon, right? Mm-hmm. So, is it profitable for professionals to work with this community through your app? Can they still make money doing this?
Yes, they can. Mainly they can make money because we guarantee that we have a loyal clientele. So we will continue to send more people who, once our clients are matched with this specific salon pros, they're more likely to, become that loyal clientele. And 20%, I've through interviews with salon pros, they've kind of let us know that that's right around the amount, 20 to 25%. So we've kind of done that out of experience from us operating through our 10 years of experience and, kind of getting the feedback through that. But then now moving to digital, how we want to operate.
So as a consumer, can you go into the app and book your appointment?
Yes. So as a consumer, they will go into the app, whether that's the actual client who is more high function or the parent. They can go in, sign up a few questions that we will ask that will, match them according to the salon pro that they're catered to or that they want to be catered to. And then they can go through the videos. So the client actually gets a video as well that will let them know that will kind of ease the. Let's go into autism. So if if an actual client has autism, their main concern is the anxiety issues. Mm-hmm. So once they can watch a video exactly what's going to happen before it happens, it kind of lowers that anxiety. And then matching with that specific client or salon pro who is specific on the training and better assist from that point.
Marvin, I'm kind of curious too on what the kind of experience in salon is like, and if there's any customization or like build out required, or even if they have to time it for being when the salon is, less busy, or a lot of these might have some needs that are sensory, right? So I'm just wondering if there's any cost to the salon pro or any like special customization or even just timing or something that has to happen. What will it look like to use one of these salons, and what type of expense might be?
So great question. Actually, salon pros will. It's minor, but they will have an extended time period based on the type of client. But really, it's just based on that training. If they feel comfortable. The client can persist on the salon on the services that they provide. But again, going back to the questions, when they first sign up, a client has the proper sign up process of if they want services in home or in a salon. So it's just based on what that type of disability that the salon pro will have to deal with, and if that client is more comfortable going into a salon or having services in the home. So that's how we base our matches.
That's awesome. So my husband is hard of hearing, and he hates calling to schedule things because he can't understand the person who answers the phone.
Right.
So this app would be perfect for him, but does it create another platform that the professional has to manage for scheduling, or can it seamlessly integrate with the platform that they may already be using?
So that is actually our phase, a couple phases out, but we do plan on integrating with the hot selling scheduling tools, as far as Booksy, as far as all the current scheduling tools that Salon Pros are using. But right now, we are just kind of basing it off of conversations back and forth and building that rapport, whether that's in messaging through the app with our Salon Pros and our clients. But yes, that's a great question, because we do anticipate integrating with the scheduling tools that are already in place.
I have a follow-up. Amy, by the way, my wife thinks I'm hard of hearing as well too. But it's actually a two-part question related to your revenue model. I see your model is a transactional model, and so once the customer's been matched with the salon, I'm curious, do you earn future revenues on that matched pair? And then second part of the question is, you've been doing this for a while, kind of in a manual process. You're moving to digital. Do you see the revenue model evolving or changing as you move into the digital world?
Yes, there's definitely more options for digital change, especially going digital for the model, going into more of a more options. But as far as, can you repeat the first question that you had mentioned?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I understand you get the commission on the initial match, the transaction. I was curious, I assume that match, you keep getting their haircut in the future.
Yes.
You generate revenue on that current match into the future, if that makes sense.
Yes, so that actually goes into our app becoming more sticky to our clients. So we offer things such as cashback options, reward systems for our clients to continue to provide systems of scheduling right after their service that they've been provided. And then it just continues to have our clients, recurring. And yes, from that point on.
Marvin, thank you, man. So, Victor, I saw you leaning in. I know you probably you have one more
too. Yep. So if we could get.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Nathan. Great presentation. I was just wondering, there's when it comes to like landlords that you could work with and target, there's really a huge range. There's like professional, large scale property managers, all the way down to kind of the hobbyist or DIY landlords that have a couple. So I know that you probably could apply to many. I guess, is there an initial target market or an initial kind of the best suited for you to target initially to work with?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and doing research around this market, there's roughly 55 million rentals across the U.S. 17 million of those are represented by roughly 10 million people. So the average, side landlord owns a property or two. That will be supported at some point. Our focus, our go-to-market, is dealing with the professional landlord or the business landlord that has 30 to 300 to 400 units. So that will be the area that we're focusing on, predominantly in multifamily, like a little bit more density, townhomes, etc. But then as we scale, what we're building with profile and community actually drives deep insights across the portfolio. So that's when we'll move to more of the REIT or the public offering.
Okay.
Have you thought about partnering with a group like Apartment Life? They're a nonprofit, but their mission is to build community through placing professional pastors or evangelists or others in apartment communities. Have you thought about ways in which you might partner with them? Because one of your goals is not just to make the application process more seamless, but to actually build community, right? Is there partnership opportunities there?
Yeah, thank you for that. We've been introduced to Apartment Life through a connection, but haven't had a direct contact. And I think Apartment Life, what they're doing in terms of increasing community kind of health, as it will, is exactly where we see an incredible opportunity and overlap. So organizations like that would really be beneficial, one, to increase connectivity, but then two, drive more insights from a impact standpoint, like what behaviors are actually turning the dial on community involvement. Where is their need? How can we engage? And our goal is not to be a merit-based ecosystem, because that's what exists currently in the market. If you're a bad tenant or you're late, you pay a late fee or you get asked to leave. The first time there's an opportunity to create a merit-based system where you can reinforce the good to create more cycles of virtuous behavior.
We own a couple apartment complex. I keep talking over you, Tim. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'll stop. We should talk offline, Nathan and Stacey, because we own a few or have invested in a couple of companies and funds that run multifamily housing.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on Amy's question about and your response on a merit-based approach. We've been in some unprecedented period over the last couple of months with COVID-19. I'm curious to hear from you what you think the impact of that of these conditions might have on your market, and is it kind of a risk or an opportunity for rent?
Yeah, I see it certainly as an opportunity, especially, and I think actually while we've been here is we really focused on the community piece, and even more so during this time, even ourselves, and I'm sure most people feel it, but you're so isolated that being out of community, it hurts. It's not good. So we really feel like this community piece will be a good opportunity for people to come together. Moving forward. And
alongside that, I think, somebody once said that you all pay a mortgage. You either pay your own or you pay your landlords. And so oftentimes renters are paying the equity appreciation and tax benefit that the landlords are receiving, and landlords are providing an incredible service. So what we want to do is we want to be that advocate, that intermediary between the two, unlocking value for both sides, and strategically, tangibly, for the first time, these tables are coming back together. These people are coming back together to kind of renegotiate. Like landlords are saying, hey, renters, we really value you. You're our greatest asset. A good renter is not a commodity. They're the greatest asset. And good renters are like landlords who can be flexible and work with us. Like we want to bend over backwards to make sure that we can pay rent, that we can work out a plan. And so I think there's an incredible opportunity, not to be opportunistic, but there's an incredible opportunity to kind of be that intermediary between the two to facilitate this exchange. So yeah, we're excited.
Nathan, Stacey, man, that was awesome. You guys were hanging out, listening to all your fellow founders, your teammates here, your cohort mates. I'm glad you finally got to come in here and deliver those just home runs. And I'm sitting here going, Amy's like, I want to introduce you to someone, or maybe this is an opportunity. I'm like, yeah, I bet it is. Like, I bet they want those things. That's good stuff. This is why we do demo day. This is why we create this connectivity and these interactions. So, hey, we're going to start to wind our time down. I just want to pause just for a minute and say to Victor and Amy and Tim, thank you so much for what you guys have done. I do think we have, like, if we have some burning questions, we got to do like lightning round, quick questions, quick answers, because I don't want to go too long, right? But I can see kind of on Victor's face, he's going, man, you're killing me. I just had one more. So is there something, guys?
I mean, there's a lot. I feel like it might be unfair, but I if we could go back to Trace for a second, I do think that was something that we wanted to keep moving. But Matt and Mallory, I guess there has to be a rush of people pursuing this, and there's all these legacy products out there. Like, what are you doing to kind of stay defensible and ahead of the curve here, and kind of innovate faster and get it out to market? I mean, and maybe there's one or two competitors that are on your mind or something as well. But I'm just kind of curious, like the defensibility and making sure that you can really win this kind of. It feels like this is the surge for composting and kind of just like recycling had in the past, basically. So
I think, from IP, from one standpoint, not just the spending a lot of time making sure the patent, the prior art searching we've already done. We've got a pretty good defensibility standpoint there on some of the uniquenesses of the whole solution, but also the branding and the direct-to-consumer strategy. I love business case studies, so we have just spent a lot of time looking at other companies that are positioned similarly and how they build that fast-growing market share and that brand equity with the consumer. Most of the people that have launched solutions for household food waste management in some way have been more, how should I say, engineering, like, hey, here's the thing we made, take it or leave it. Whirlpool did this. There's been a couple of that have done it. And so I feel like we've really looked at that strategy, just direct-to-consumer success. What is the way to do that and go quickly? We've got a great advisor who did say, once you get out, you can't go fast enough. So we do know there's a pretty big spend. I mean, the average spend for a Kickstarter, like a good Kickstarter pre-sale, is 30% of revenue. So, I mean, just pick your number what you want to do in that big pre-sale and make sure you've got that in the bank and then scale from there. So I think that's kind of people with that answers the question.
And just, I think, staying tuned in to what our clients are asking for is really important to us. So it's always going to be on the plan for us to continue to get their feedback and to continue to innovate based on that. And that's actually how we've done this whole thing. We actually started somewhere different and ended up with the integrated unit we have based on feedback we were getting from our pilots and a lot of consumer research. And so we know there's going to be a V2 version, and we're already pretty sure about what that's going to look like, and we want to continue to stay tuned into that, because to us, solving the problem is a lot more important than being married to our current solution.
Awesome. I would just advocate for education, easy education pieces for consumers. So we all recycle because we know we're supposed to, and we're doing a bad job of it. We're putting things that aren't recyclable in recycling constantly because we got the message, but we don't have much information. And with food waste, my family could certainly use help understanding what things need to go into our compost pile so it actually composts.
Yeah. I'll answer you one thought. We've again trying to learn. King County, Seattle, which has done a really great job on too.
I'm going to cut you off. I am. I'm about to hit the button. That's great. I just want to respect everybody's time. So, I want to start to draw us to a close. We promised folks 45 minutes. We're right bumping up against that. Here's what I would encourage folks to do. If you're out there, you have a question. First of all, Amy, Victor, and Tim, you guys are connected to these founders. We make sure you have direct lines, obviously already to all them. But other folks, if you have questions for these panelists, or you have questions for the founders who have been part of this, man, just keep commenting. We're curating all that or collating all that together, and we're going to deliver that to the founders. Here's the other thing I would tell you: OceanDemoDay.com is kind of home base for all of this footage now, right? So the pitches are going to be live there. This Q&A session that we just had is going to be hosted there. And also on that page, there's individual web pages for every company. So for all 5 of the startups you just heard from, we have individual pages designed for them. And on those pages, their pitch is going to be there. Their deck is going to be there. Their contact information, the ways to kind of get a hold of them, their quick business profile is going to be there. The ways you can go and support and buy the product. Trace is a great example. Trace's pre-sales are live. We're going to make sure that link is there for you. They've already pre-sold over 50 units, right? And they just went live like 2 days ago. So these are ways that you can engage with these companies in the future and ongoing. I thank you guys so much. I guess Amy, Victor, Tim, is there just like a closing word or an encouragement or anything that you want to say as kind of we're shutting the door here?
These pitches were really strong. Really kind of speaks to the value of the program and also just the quality of the entrepreneurs here. So just really kudos all around and just really amazing kind of the work that's happening. So was really grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, I fully agree with Victor. If I had one kind of parting comment to make, I'd say, embrace the pressure. because it's through the pressure that success is manifested. And you can't achieve anything without taking that step forward. And it's really impressive with what the 5 startups have accomplished so far, and I expect big things from them.
Yep, it was great. Very good.
Well, thank you.
I just really wish that CareCuts already had its app live so that I could get a hairdresser to come to my house. You could build that for the rest of us for the next time we're in quarantine lockdown. That'd be great.
That's great.
You got your 6-foot distance, right?
Right. I'll wear a mask.
You got a roar of laughter, in the smattering of few folks that are in this huge space that we're in right now. So thank you guys. Thank you all so much. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of say goodbye to the broader community and all of you that were on this chat. If you'll just hang out, when we wrap up here, we can kind of have some closing words privately. But for everyone that's been watching, that's been with us, that's been part of Demo Day today, man, thank you so much. Thank you for liking and sharing and viewing and commenting and just being a part of this community, for supporting entrepreneurs, for believing in the work that is happening, is being unveiled in the world. Randy, thank you. And I don't know how you're feeling, man, but I'm just proud.
It's been a great day, and it's a great unveiling of these terrific entrepreneurs. So couldn't be prouder.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. We look for ways to continue to just stay connected and in relationship with every single person who is part of this event. We appreciate you all.